Hey guys, today we are going to look at what is dragon magic and what are some of the paths that you can walk down while working with dragons, so on and so forth. So in its simplest explanation, in the simplest form that I could possibly give you, to work with dragons is to utilize their energy, influence, and aid in your path, practice, magical workings, etc. There are some people that will claim that in order to work with dragons, you have to do things in a ceremonial fashion. You have to, perform ceremonial rituals, ceremonial spells. That is not true, okay? No. You can make your own spells, you can make your own rituals with the dragons. It doesn't have to be ceremonial. Now, dragon magic does work with any pantheon, any faith, any magical teaching around the globe. And this is because dragons are found in every single culture around the world. Now, this means that you can be following any pantheon, any culture, and find dragons. And you can work with those dragons with your current faith or with your current practice, whether it's magical or not, honestly. Now, depending on the culture, depending on the pantheon, depending on the place, some of them were deified, some of them were vilified. But at the end of the day, every single one of them teaches us a lesson. That's what mythology is. Now, dragons are astral beings, and as such, they can manifest in the real world, but they do so in various ways. Sometimes it's in rock formations, in like mountains and hills. Sometimes it's in the clouds. Sometimes it's in water, so on and so forth. Hell, there's even been archaeologists that have dug up full skeletons of dragons in China. But I digress. One of the important things to remember when it comes to dragons and working with dragons is they do not only exist when we call upon them. Okay? That's not a thing. They don't only exist when we call upon them. They don't wait suspended in time, like frozen, until somebody calls their name and they're like, oh, yep, right here. It's also important to remember what is convenient for you may not be convenient for them. There is a lot of trust and respect and honor, patience, honesty, and determination that go into working with dragons. Working with dragons is not like working with any other entity. Their energies are a lot heavier, they're a lot denser, they're a lot more overwhelming, and dragons are the greatest shapeshifters in the universe, you guys. You also have to remember and realize that the time in the astral plane is so much different than time for us here. But that doesn't in no way, shape, or form mean that they are bound to our wills and our commands, okay? In fact, that's a really good way to chase them off or receive backlash for such thing with a dragon. Nobody can control a dragon. So anybody that says that they can control a dragon or that they have control over their dragon is lying to you, and that is the biggest red flag in the universe. Their ability to communicate and advise through forms of divination is impeccable and astonishing, you guys. I'm not even kidding. As protectors and guardians and guides, there are, in my opinion, nothing else compares. They are fierce, they are loyal, they are smart as hell, they hold ancient wisdom, okay? They're powerful, some are premortal. Now, this path can be very, very demanding, okay? It's usually in your best interest, but working with dragons is not for the faint of heart or the weak of will. It takes a lot of determination, a lot of patience, a lot of self-control, a lot of honesty, a lot of trust, a lot of respect, a lot of things, okay? But one thing that it's not is boring. You're never bored, okay? You will literally never be bored. I absolutely promise you that. Dragons do like to communicate and speak in riddles a lot of the time, which means a lot of your time and research is going to go into trying to solve a puzzle that's like 10 times worse than a bridge troll's riddle, okay? If you've ever seen the movie Gods of Egypt, where Horus and Thoth go to the Sphinx and the Sphinx gives them a riddle and Thoth has to solve the riddle and not even Thoth can solve the riddle, that's kind of like a dragon riddle, not gonna lie. Now, I want to say that not everybody can work with dragons. Everybody deserves dragons. Everybody can honor dragons and leave dragons offerings, so on and so forth. But a dragon has to choose to work with you. Not everybody can work with a dragon because not everybody has the capability or the ability or the means or the morals. For some people, it's a hell of a lot harder and takes a lot more work than other people, but that doesn't mean it's less valid. There's a lot of self-discipline, change, and chaos that goes into working with dragons. There's a lot of darkness and inner shadows that you have to face to work with dragons. Dragons also love putting you through trials, okay, which are tests to test you not only on your knowledge and not only on your morals, but on you versus yourself. When it comes to dragons, you really have to be okay with these beings being completely and brutally honest with you. Seriously. But not only that, you also have to be able to be brutally honest with yourself. And the same goes for the trust and the respect and the honor and all that stuff. That stuff's not just towards them. You have to have that same stuff towards yourself. You have to also trust yourself. You have to have respect for yourself. You have to, honor yourself. All of it. Working with dragons is not easy. It is uphill battles. It is being thrown into the abyss and having to fight your way back out. But it is also, in my opinion, the most rewarding path that you could possibly fathom. There are multiple different paths that you can walk distinctly with dragons. So if you're not following a specific pantheon or culture or whatever, like Norse paganism or anything like that, there are specific paths that you can walk just with dragons. But a lot of the times people will combine these things already or still with other pantheons or combine things together, and they often call themselves eclectic because of this. So some of these things would be like, you have Draconic Wicca, you have a Draconianism, you have just walking a draconic path in general. Like, that's totally valid. Just to be draconic in general, totally valid, okay? That literally just means that you work with dragons. You work with dragons. You don't have like a Wiccan base, you don't have a Cliff-Off base, you don't have a demonology base, you don't have, a faith base. You're just working with dragons, and that's totally valid. Now, on that list is also what I had mentioned, Cliff-Off. Cliff-Off is a form of a draconic path because they do utilize quite a few draconic entities, and they do utilize draconian entities in their path and practice and workings. Ultimately, if you are wanting to combine your dragon path with another path or pantheon or whatever, you just have to really figure out how to balance it. You have to figure out how both of those things will fit in your path, that you can even them out and balance them both perfectly so that both of them get the amount of attention that they deserve from you, or the amount of attention that they need. Another really important thing that I want to note is when it comes to dragon slayers in mythologies. So there are some creators that will bash and just completely annihilate the idea of dragon slayers in mythologies if they work with dragons, because obviously we don't want to slay the dragons now. But you have to understand the symbolism of slaying the dragon in these mythologies. And also, if you're working with a dragon slayer in mythology and a dragon at the same time, for example, if you're working with Thor and Jorgenmungandr, you're going to want to keep their altars as separate as possible, like separate rooms even, if possible. Just out of respect for both of them and their mythologies and their stories, and just to honor each of them as their own and not in the context of the disaster or the murder or chaos or whatever. And yes, I know, as dragon witches or people working with dragons, chaos is learned to not be a bad thing. So wanting to work with the chaos is great, but I still advise that you keep dragon slayers and dragons completely separate in your altar spaces. It will definitely save you a goddamn migraine, I promise, and it will keep respect for both entities. If you guys have any questions on dragon magic or working with dragons, feel free to leave them in the comments. And if you are ever interested, there is a dragon witch or dragon magic Discord server linked below. And if you are interested, you are more than welcome to join, whether you are new or advanced, or just wanting to learn about dragons and mythology, more than welcome to join. It is a Discord server created and operated by dragon witches from multiple different paths, so it covers a wide variety of topics and subjects. And it's also a community that we have created to foster a safe and reliable way to find information on, mythologies, deities, dragons in general, for people wanting to learn outside of, the D&D bullshit or Wikipedia bullshit or TikTok. So if you're interested, the link is down below. Feel free to join. We would love to have you. And I hope you guys fly high, and remember that you are the sun and you burn so brightly. Have a wonderful day.